Good morning. My name is Chris Fox, and today we're talking about why I decided not to release Right to Market 2. I feel like I owe you guys an answer about this. Lots of people have been asking, and I finally got an email this week where somebody's like, you really should tell the channel and tell people that you're not going to be releasing this book because some people are expecting it. So here goes, and it may be a bit of a long and somewhat personal video because the reasons for me doing this have to do with where I want to go professionally and personally in my life. Like, I guess I'll start with the great news. Lisa and I are expecting. I'm going to have a son in January. And so I'm sort of looking at where I want to take my life going forward. And 5 years from now and 10 years from now, what do I want my life to look like? And so my decisions regarding Right to Market have to do with that. I'm sort of looking where I want to be in 10 years. And publishing Right to Market 2, or really any other book that makes any sort of splash in the author community is not aligning with where I want to go. And I want to get that across. Like, people are very surprised by this. They're like, Chris, why don't you want our money? And the answer is pretty simple. I'm a huge fan of the Pareto principle. So I believe that 80% of our success usually comes from 20% of our efforts, or somewhere thereabouts. And this principle is held true throughout my life. And unsurprisingly, it holds true with writing. So 80% or more of my income comes from 20% of the effort, and that's fiction. Fiction earns the vast, vast majority of the money that I make. And when I publish a fiction book, I get one of two types of emails and/or responses. Either somebody sends me an email saying, hey, Chris, that was amazing. I loved it. Here's the things I liked. When's the next book coming out? Or they send me emails saying that was terrible, Chris, and here's all the reasons why. Those latter emails are really rare. Most of the emails are very, very positive. Opening my fiction emails is always a positive experience. I enjoy it. It's neat to get fan mail and to interact with these people, and I have fun with it. And then again, that's where most of the money comes from. The vast, vast majority of my email, though, actually comes from authors. So less than 20% of my income comes from the writing books that I've published, and the vast majority of my time that is spent not writing, like interacting with people, all has to do with that. So like, I'm spending many hours a day responding to emails and posting, and for a long time I was doing forums and stuff, and it's becoming too much, and it's starting to have a personal cost in my life. And so as I look as a father going forward, like, where do I want to invest my time and energy, and what's going to secure a future for my family? That's the number one concern. And if I put out Right to Market 2, let's say that it's tremendously successful, and honestly, I feel like it could be. It builds on Right to Market. It teaches some core sound principles, which will really help people expand, in the future. But let's say it caught on. I might make, 20 grand off that book. And a lot of people are like, thinking that's a ton of money. And I guess to some people it is. But if you look at all of the books that I published since I began my career, that's a drop in the bucket. And it's less than one of my fiction releases by a significant amount. So it's basically smarter for me to write a novel because it's going to make more money, like right off the bat in the release month, than a nonfiction book will make over the course of my career. The only exception to that has been 5,000 words per hour, which I'm super proud of. Like, that is my writing book that I'm most proud of, because it's gotten more writers into writing than anything else that I've produced. It taught people to sort of take that first step. And that one has earned quite a bit. And again, I'm very proud of that book. But I don't want to teach advanced marketing. I don't want to be a guru. I don't want to be a person that you come to for the cutting edge advice about what comes next in this industry. Because being that person in the way that I do it is not profitable. And a lot of people could argue, well, Chris, you could make courses and make a ton of money. You did your ads for authors course, and that was good money. You guys have seen that in my videos. It was like the equivalent of a really good book launch. And I enjoyed the process. Like, working with students in a course was a lot of fun. Like, people could ask questions and I could answer them, and I could help them, and other students would chime in, and that was fun. So, course is definitely more interesting to me than nonfiction, because, they're commiserate with the effort involved. In other words, if I put in enough time to make a course, I'm going to earn out enough money to have invested in it. I'm not going to be kicking myself saying, why didn't I write novels in that time period? Because that would have earned me a lot more money. So that's a problem that I face. So I looked at Right to Market 2, and it's hard because this book's done, and it's been done since December. And I decided I don't want to release this. I don't want the fallout that comes from releasing that book. That's not stuff that I'm super interested in teaching at that level. So I am giving some talks on Right to Market. I will be, doing so at NINC and PNWA in Seattle. Both of those are in September. I will do it again in November at 20 books to 50K. You're going to get pieces on this channel. I'm not going to stop teaching, but it's important that I underscore to you the cost of this to me. And this is where the personal side of it comes in. So if this is oversharing, sorry, but I guess at this point, you guys aren't surprised. I am a big fan of the Myers-Briggs personality test. And I don't know how many of you have taken the Myers-Briggs personality test, but I'm always skeptical about those standardized tests and, are they really accurate? But when I took it, I found, much to my shock, that mine was extraordinarily accurate. And it's got a whole section on your flaws. And it really shines a spotlight on them. So, if you don't have a thick skin, it's difficult to read these. When I took the test, I got INTJ. INTJ. And the most important part of that is introvert. I am a hardcore introvert. Being around more than 3 people is emotionally draining and taxing to me. And after a few hours of that, I'm in dire needs of retreating somewhere so I can introvert. It's extreme. It's extreme for me. It may sound again like I'm charismatic or I'm extroverted, but that's because I'm sitting in a room alone and there's no one here. When there's 800 people in an audience in front of me, it's different. And even 15 people in a crowd, it's an enormous source of stress for me. I don't do well. But that's not the flaw that's the problem here. When you take a Myers-Briggs personality test, and I highly recommend doing so just to see what it says about you. Mine is advocate is the term for INTJ. They give you a one-word descriptor because it's easier to sort of describe the basket of neuroses that comprise your personality. And in my case, an advocate, I was shocked when I saw this, that I thought this has got to be wrong. This is stupid. It said that I'm most similar to Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, and Mother Teresa. And I gotta laugh at that. I really do, because I can't think of 3 people that I'm further away from. But as I started reading what an advocate is, I realized actually this does apply to me. An advocate is an introvert, usually who's a good orator. They're a good speaker. So they're good at getting attention, but they don't want it. We don't want it. We want to hide from it. So if you come out and you give an eloquent speech and people want to elect you as a leader, you're like, no, I want to go back and hide. That's sort of what you do as an advocate. But people don't understand that. They think that because you are a good eloquent speaker and can kind of hold your own in conversation, that's sort of where you're meant to be. So in my case, everybody seems to assume that I'm like Tony Robbins and I thrive on this stuff, and it's the opposite. The cost is so huge. So frequently over the last year, I have allowed things to get under my skin. One of the things that is very common of advocates is we react irrationally, badly, really badly, to specific types of criticism. And when I read this, I actually felt better about myself a little bit, to be honest, because other people are like this too. It's not just me. And it also told me when it happens, which is sort of what I've been looking to learn about myself. Sometimes I will get enraged. And if you guys have followed the comments on this channel, you've seen me rip into people. And there's a commonality, as it turns out. If somebody questions my ethics or my integrity, you're getting both barrels to the face. I'm coming after you and your whole family. I don't deal well with people questioning my ethics or integrity because I take my ethics and integrity so very seriously. And this is why I realized the advocate term was accurate, because I am an advocate. This channel is my advocacy. All of the videos I've done on this channel are an attempt to give writers the type of education I couldn't afford or find when I was growing up. I wanted to be an author. When I was 18 years old and I graduated from high school, the thing I most wanted to do was tell stories and be an author, the stuff I'm doing today. But I didn't have the tools to do that, and I didn't know all the things I needed to know. And so my advocacy has been trying to create sort of a free online university for people, which we now have. And you can look at the videos on this channel and sort of see, going back, what I've tried to create here. But that comes at a cost. As an advocate, I react badly to criticism, and that's had a mounting personal cost to me. I was actually, and I can't tell you anything about the situation really, but I was part of an author community where the rule of this author community is you don't talk about the author community. It's meant to be a secret, a place where people can go and safely talk about what's going on in the industry. And somebody criticized me, and in a public forum, I broke that rule. So even though I was the founder of this forum, I ended up having to leave. It was the right decision. I broke the rules, but I behaved badly because being in the public eye means that there's always somebody questioning my integrity. There's always somebody looking at me and saying, Chris, you're trying to bilk authors and make extra money doing this. And some days I deal well with that. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to answer that question, or I'm just going to, delete that. I'm fine. But if I'm having a tough day and I'm stressed out, if I've got a lot going on or I'm facing some personal challenges in my life, then I react badly. And Lisa and I getting to a point where we could have a child was not easy. I'm not religious, but thank God that we are now expecting and that we have our little miracle on the way. I'm so thrilled about that. But the path to get here, I behaved badly. And, I regret that. I do. But what I'm learning from that is that I have to tailor my career to support that. I have to build my career in ways where I'm going to be happy, and I'm going to continue to want to do this and not get burnt out and want to hide from the author world because I'm so tired of dealing with constant criticism. And let me be clear. This isn't the world's fault. This is me. This is an issue I face as an advocate, as an INTJ. I struggle with that. And I'm learning. I'm working with that. It's something that over time I'm getting better at. But I know it's a weakness. And putting myself in a position where that weakness is going to be tested is probably not good, especially when it's not financially lucrative for me to do so. Releasing Right to Market 2 is not going to make me a fortune. It's going to be a blip on the radar. And honestly, you probably wouldn't even be able to pick it out on my chart. If you looked at my chart through a year on how much income I'm earning, you wouldn't say, oh, that's the market. That's the month that Right to Market came out. So as much as I want to help authors, as much as I want to give, as much as I want to enable you guys to succeed at every level, I got to make some tough choices. I'm always going to advocate for our community. I'm always going to help indie authors. I got to draw some lines in the sand. So Right to Market 2 is something that I'm not going to publish. And I may not do any more nonfiction at all. If I'm excited about a book, like I really have considered writing a world building book, then I might do so. But other than that, I'm not really excited. I want to do stuff for basic and intermediate authors, but even though I release stuff that is specifically geared to beginning and intermediate authors, advanced authors will pick it up and then ream me because it didn't have crazy marketing secrets in it. And I just don't want to deal with that anymore. It's funny. This year, if you look at the videos on the channel, I stopped focusing on nonfiction. I stopped working as closely with the author community. I focused on fiction, and hey, what do you know? Every month is a record month. Making crazy money, and here's the best part. I love it. I'm having a great time. Having people talk to me about the Dark Lord Burt, or about what they like about the Magitech Chronicles and how they love the end of God's War, and when is the RPG and the next series coming out. It's exciting, and I have fun with that. It's such a breath of fresh air because it's the opposite of dealing with the author community. And I know that this will probably catch some downvotes. And, I'm sorry, guys, that I'm as thin-skinned as I am, but that's why I decided not to release Right to Market 2. At some point, I might do a Right to Market 2 course. I think that'd be very beneficial. I believe very strongly in the information, and I think that the talks will be very well received when I give them later this year at NINC. That's Novelists Inc. I'll be doing it at PNWA as well. That's the Pacific Northwest Writers Association. And then at 20 books to 50K. So, it's not like I won't be giving the information out. I'm just not going to do it in book form, and I'm not going to attempt to disseminate it as widely. One of the advantages that I would have in putting it out in course form is I could interact with students, and I could make sure that they're doing it the right way. And that would be a good thing for my sanity. In any case, guys, I apologize for the personal nature of the video. Thank you guys so much for sticking with the channel. Next week, we'll have more Burt progress. Burt's going pretty well, but I'm not pressuring myself to finish that. I've actually been working on Dying World. That's a Magitech Chronicles series. I just started writing it in the first person, and I can't stop. So that's been going really well. Anyway, guys, I am excited about all the good news. I cannot believe that I would be a father. That is amazing to me. I'm going to get back to the writing. I'll see you guys next week.